Eyes as Blue as Night, a Lego Monkie Kid fanfiction written by Jukebox Draws, read by Jukebox Draws. Chapter 2, Lady's Perfume. Wukong hadn't seen Macaque since then. Right after their fight with the Lady Bone Demon, the Shadow Demon had disappeared. When the king had asked his apprentice about it, MK said to just give him some time alone. He had a lot of things to process. What kind of things, the Monkie Kid wouldn't say. The sage had let almost a year pass before he finally decided to do something. He had initially wanted to wait until nighttime to talk to him. Macaque always seemed to be in a better mood during the night, when the sun wasn't shining in his eyes all the time. But apparently, fate had other plans for where and when they would meet. Wukong tore through memories, desperately searching for something. He couldn't remember. All he knew was that he had to keep running. Keep running. "Don't worry, Wukong. I'll save you." Wukong stopped. Was that who he thought it was? He was on Flowerfruit Mountain, back when there were more monkeys there, when he wasn't alone. Macaque was there, and Azure Lion, Winged Pang, and Yellowtusk the Wise, the Brotherhood. "Son Wukong has abandoned his brothers." Azure slammed his fist into the wall. "Given us up for heaven, given us up for that monk." Wukong's gaze seemed to be drawn to Macaque, as if there were a spotlight on him. He could see the shadow grit his teeth, the dark circles under his eyes, and the constant twitch in his fingers at every small noise. "I'll go find him." The Brotherhood paused their reminiscing and turned to the smallest member of the group. "Are you sure, brother?" Azure looked concerned. "Son Wukong is not who he once was anymore. He's a servant of our enemy now." "He'll come back to me, to us. I know it." Macaque pushed off the pillar he was leaned against. "He's being held hostage. He doesn't want to do any of this." Wukong could hear Macaque trying to convince himself that those statements were true. "It's gotta be that thing around his head. I saw the monk reciting some strange spell, and that thing was glowing. He must be using it to torture Wukong into doing whatever he wants. I just have to get rid of the monk, get that thing off of him. I just have to save him. I will save him." The shadow summoned his staff, fire burning in his golden eyes. "No matter what it takes." No. Wukong knew what came next. He didn't want to see it. He didn't want to see it. "No! No!" He tore through the memory. Macaque was hurting them. Macaque was going to kill them. Wukong had to stop him. "Protect this monk with your life." The task in his mind, his duty, his new purpose pleaded with him. Macaque knew his lover wasn't thinking straight. He was under the spell, that was all. Once he was free from the monk's control, everything would be all right again. He'd return to Flowerfruit Mountain with him to eat peaches forever, like he always wanted. And they would get married, just like he had promised. "Protect this monk with your life." Wukong saw another memory. "Wukong, why do you weep so late?" The monk, his master, had asked him. Wukong couldn't look at him back then, couldn't look into the face of the man that made him do this. "Is it because of that other monkey?" Wukong could see his master's face perk up with the possibility that his disciple had gained some empathy for other demons. "Don't you dare talk about him." The sound of nails scratching rock rang in his ears. "This is your fault. You made me do this. You made me do it all." Wukong was overcome with rage, but not at the monk. "I hate you! You liar!" Wukong heard a voice, not his own, and he turned. Macaque was there, alive. "He lied to us! He lied to me!" Macaque's ears twitched. The fresh scar that now covered his right eye burned. She was there. Wukong saw her whisper something to him. "Traitor." "Yes," Macaque repeated almost mindlessly, as if he were a puppet on strings. Wukong could only watch. "He abandoned me." "No, Luir!" Wukong tried to stop it, tried to reverse his mistake, undo what had been done, but it was no use. Ink surrounded him and whisked him away to another memory. After it was all over, Wukong had gone back to Flower Fruit Mountain to get some much-needed rest, and discovered his warrior was there as well. Luir, Wukong nodded solemnly. Wukong? Macaque sat up from his resting spot on the porch. His glamour radiated off of him more than usual. Wukong could sense it. You saw it too? You could say that. The shadow sighed. Your glamour. Wukong sat next to him, a short distance away. He wanted so badly to be closer to him, to hold him close, to assure him that everything was over now. What about it? Macaque raised an eyebrow. It's heavier than usual, the king mumbled. Macaque lifted his head a bit in acknowledgement. It was obvious he was very tired. You know, I never would have... If I had a choice, I know, Wukong. The king stopped stumbling over his words when he noticed Macaque's hand creeping across the wood of the porch, getting closer to Wukong. The shadow stared ahead of him, not looking at the other monkey. His ears twitched and perked in all directions. Something wasn't right. Macaque. Come on, chase me, Wukong suddenly suggested, playfully jumping onto a somersault cloud. He silently floated a ways away. Macaque blinked. Pardon? Chase me, like we used to do. Let's play tag. It'll be just like the old days. The sage grinned wide. Macaque slowly stood up. I'm not really in the mood. Macaque felt over the banister of the porch steps as he made his way back inside the little cottage the sage called his home. Wukong floated inside, making sure to keep his cloud as light as air, to not make any noise. Oh, come on, Luir, just one game! Not now, Wukong. I'm not leaving you alone until you play with me. Macaque sighed, knowing Wukong would make good on that promise. As short as the sage's attention span was, if he really put his mind to something, he'd persist until he couldn't stand any longer. Fine. One game, but then you leave me alone. With this, Wukong somersaulted with delight. Yay! Yeah, whatever, the shadow huffed. Their game of tag began, and Wukong noticed it right away. Macaque wasn't looking around as much as he was listening. Six ears perked in every direction, hearing the soft whoosh of the sage's cloud or the steadiness of his breath. When Macaque walked forward and bumped into the wall, that sent Wukong's alarm bells ringing. Macaque never bumped into things. Luir, are you okay? What do you mean? You bumped into the wall. Yeah, and? You never bump into things. Macaque's ears perked down, and he scowled. I'm just having an off day, it's fine. The shadow sighed softly. Wukong narrowed his eyes. Then why the heavy glamour? Macaque heard Wukong snap his fingers. He felt his glamour fall. Wukong was terrified. He had expected to find the scar across Macaque's right eye, nothing more. So then why did he have two scars now? Your eyes. Macaque sighed deeply as his ears and tail drooped. Yeah. You can't. Wukong gulped. See? Yeah. How? You don't remember? Why would I remember? Because you did it. Wukong's cloud disappeared, and he brought his hands to his shadow's face. Macaque tensed under the sage's fingers. The monkey's thumbs ran over the scars, the lifeless flesh once where there were two perfectly good golden eyes. What do you mean? You remember when you were possessed by her? Only bits and pieces. The pieces clicked into place, and Wukong let out a long, drawn-out, pitiful sigh of defeat and horror. I'm so sorry. Don't apologize. Macaque turned his head away. Wukong cupped his cheeks and turned his head back. Macaque. Macaque could feel the sage's warmth so close to him. It was like standing next to a roaring fire. Wukong. Macaque's breath caught when he felt warm clothes and skin press against him. Wukong pushed their bodies together, letting Macaque feel everything, every muscle a piece of cloth armor, and every texture of skin and hair. It was almost overwhelming for the dark-haired demon. "Can you feel me?" Wukong asked. Macaque nodded. "Yes," Macaque mumbled, a little frustrated. "I can feel how warm you are." Wukong let his own hands wander over Macaque's face again. He touched his cheeks. "I can feel how cold you are." "Am I cold, or are you just warmer than everyone else?" They both chuckled a bit. "Probably." Wukong sighed. How can I fix this?" "You can't," Macaque sighed. "You just gotta live with it." "You shouldn't have to suffer because of my mistakes." "It wasn't a mistake, Wukong. You were possessed." "I should have been stronger." Macaque reached and touched his fingertips to the sage's cheek. He felt the wetness of tears. "You are strong, son Wukong. I think the last 1,000 years have proven that." They both chuckled a bit again. Wordlessly, Wukong pulled Macaque into a hug. The warrior couldn't help but return the hero's embrace, finding comfort in the familiar peachy scent and the softness of ginger fur. "How can I make it up to you?" There was a silence for a moment. "Just hold me." It was so quiet. Even the waterfalls and chirping of insects that usually permeated the air around the mountain suddenly faded away. It was quiet, but too loud at the same time. Macaque's ears twitched at every shift in the air, a soft rumbling getting louder and louder as the silence grew stronger, drowning out everything else. Wukong rested his head against Macaque's shoulder, his face fitting perfectly into the crook of his neck. Soft fur that smelled faintly of plums and cheap cologne made the sage smile. It had been so long since he smelled that smell. It was so comforting. Macaque let out a rigid sigh as his body finally relaxed, melting into the touch of his son. The shadow inhaled the scent of Peach's damp fur and a hint of Lady's perfume. His mouth perked into a smirk. The hero and the warrior were together at last. The end.